South China Sea. Why are China and the Philippines' tensions heating up? The South China Sea has long been a source of tension and contention between China and the Philippines, as the two nations vie for control and influence over the highly strategic waterway. The current escalating diplomatic row and recent maritime confrontations between the two countries have only served to exacerbate the situation and heighten the potential for conflict. At the heart of the dispute are China's expansive territorial claims over the majority of the South China Sea, which overlap with the exclusive economic zones and continental shelf claims of the Philippines and other neighboring nations. China has been increasingly assertive in staking its claim, constructing artificial islands and military outposts throughout the region, much to the alarm and consternation of the Philippines and other Southeast Asian states. The Philippines, in particular, has pushed back strongly against China's actions, filing an international legal case challenging the validity of China's 9-dash line that demarcates its sweeping maritime claims. This has led to a series of tense naval standoffs and confrontations between the two countries, as their military vessels and Coast Guard ships jostle for position and control over the strategically vital sea lanes and resources. The high stakes involved, including access to lucrative fishing grounds and potential offshore oil and gas reserves, have only intensified the dispute, which has become a major source of regional instability and a flashpoint for potential conflict. With both China and the Philippines refusing to back down, the situation in the South China Sea remains highly volatile and fraught with the potential for miscalculation and unintended escalation. What are the flashpoints? The recent confrontations between the Philippines and China revolve around two highly disputed areas within Manila's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, which Beijing also asserts ownership over. Overlapping claims in the South China Sea. China's expansive claims over the South China Sea are centered around its so-called 9-dash line, an ambiguous demarcation that encompasses nearly the entire body of water and the numerous islands, reefs, and shoals scattered throughout it. This sweeping claim asserts China's sovereignty over the region, including the Scarborough Shoal, a submerged reef located just 120 miles from the Philippines coastline. The Scarborough Shoal is a prime fishing ground, its nutrient-rich waters teeming with an abundance of marine life that has sustained local fishing communities for generations. However, China's aggressive posturing and military presence in the area have increasingly restricted access to this vital resource, sparking tensions with neighboring countries like the Philippines, who also lay claim to the shoal. In a separate dispute, China has also staked its claim on the Second Thomas Shoal, another contested feature in the Spratly Islands. Here, the Philippines has intentionally grounded a rusting naval vessel, the BRP Sierra Madre, as a means of solidifying its territorial assertion. A small contingent of Filipino sailors now live aboard the grounded ship, maintaining a constant presence to reinforce Manila's claim. China, unsurprisingly, views this as an illegal occupation and has repeatedly called for the removal of the Filipino personnel, leading to a delicate standoff between the two nations. The strategic importance of the South China Sea, with its abundant natural resources and vital shipping lanes, has made these territorial disputes increasingly fraught as China seeks to expand its regional influence through the extension of its 9-dash line claims. Why are things heating up? The Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague delivered a landmark ruling in 2016 that dealt a significant blow to China's expansive claims over the South China Sea. The court decisively ruled that Beijing's so-called 9-dash line, the vague demarcation that China has used to stake claim over vast swaths of the strategic waterway, had no basis in international law. This was a major victory for the Philippines, which had brought the case against China, as it effectively invalidated China's sweeping territorial assertions. However, despite this definitive legal rebuke, China has remained steadfast in rejecting the ruling and continuing to aggressively assert its control over the South China Sea. In recent years, Beijing has dramatically escalated its presence in the region, deploying hundreds of Coast Guard vessels to patrol the disputed waters. This alarming maritime activity has heightened tensions with the Philippines, as well as other claimant states like Vietnam and Malaysia, who are concerned about China's growing assertiveness. It has also drawn the attention and concern of the United States, which views China's territorial ambitions and military buildup in the South China Sea as a direct challenge to the established international order and freedom of navigation. Despite the Permanent Court's unequivocal ruling, China remains undeterred, continuing to aggressively press its expansive claims and cementing its control over this strategically vital and resource-rich maritime domain. What have the standoffs entailed? Over the past year, tensions and confrontations between the Philippines and China in Asia's most disputed waters have escalated. Beijing has intensified its claims, while Manila has persisted in its fishing and resupply activities for Filipinos at the two shoals. China views these actions as illegal incursions and has attempted to deter the vessels. China's Coast Guard has increased its gray zone tactics, which include using water cannons, collision and ramming maneuvers, and reportedly deploying a military-grade laser, according to Manila, to halt Philippine resupply and patrol missions. Additionally, China has dispatched a fleet of fishing boats considered by the Philippines and its allies to be part of a militia. During recent resupply missions to the Second Thomas Shoal, Philippine boats were damaged and some crew members injured due to the use of water cannons. China has called on the Philippines to remove the warship, claiming Manila had agreed to do so, but the Philippines denies any such agreement was made. What was the global reaction? China's actions have sparked international condemnation and concern from major powers, such as the United States, Japan, Australia, France, and Britain. Foreign journalists have accompanied some Philippine resupply missions, documenting events at the invitation of the Philippines. A security official stated that this move was intended to shed light on China's gray zone tactics. In response, China has accused the Philippines of inciting trouble and spreading misinformation. A senior U.S. admiral described China's actions as dangerous, illegal, and destabilizing to the region. How is the Philippines responding? President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has taken a firm stance against what he perceives as Chinese aggression, refusing to yield to its pressure. Recently, he pledged to implement countermeasures against illegal, coercive, aggressive, and dangerous attacks by China's Coast Guard, escalating the ongoing dispute. The Philippines has announced that these countermeasures will be multidimensional and will first exhaust diplomatic options. Marcos has also called for enhanced coordination on maritime security to address a range of serious challenges to territorial integrity and peace. In April, the leaders of the Philippines, the U.S., and Japan held a trilateral summit where they agreed to deepen security and economic ties. Marcos stated that this cooperation would change the dynamic in the South China Sea. In his just-concluded State of the Nation address, Marcos reiterated that the Philippines will not back down from asserting its rights in the disputed South China Sea, despite reaching a deal with Beijing to avoid confrontations in the area. He also said, "The Philippines cannot yield. The Philippines cannot waver." Could the United States get involved? The Philippines' dispute with China coincides with increased security engagements with the United States under President Marcos, including expanded U.S. access to Philippine bases. Manila is also seeking closer security ties with other allies, such as Japan and Australia. These engagements, which include joint patrols, have provoked frustration in China. The United States and the Philippines have long maintained a close military alliance, with the two nations bound by an ironclad mutual defense treaty that has significant implications for the ongoing disputes in the South China Sea. Under the terms of this treaty, the U.S. has made it unequivocally clear that it would come to the defense of its Philippine ally if their Coast Guard or armed forces were ever attacked within the region, effectively raising the stakes significantly should any miscalculation or confrontation occur at sea. This serves as a powerful deterrent against China, which has aggressively asserted its territorial claims across much of the South China Sea in recent years, often to the detriment of the Philippines' own maritime interests and sovereignty. However, the U.S. commitment also presents a double-edged sword, as it could potentially limit how far China is willing to go in its efforts to bully or intimidate the Philippines, wary of the risks of a direct military conflict with the world's preeminent superpower. At the same time, Philippine officials, including President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., have emphasized that invoking the Mutual Defense Treaty would be viewed as an absolute last resort, preferring instead to pursue diplomatic solutions and avoid unnecessarily escalating tensions in the volatile region. Nonetheless, the enduring U.S.-Philippines alliance, anchored by this ironclad security pact, continues to loom large over the geopolitical calculus in the South China Sea, serving as a critical check on China's regional ambitions. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and ring the bell for future updates. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to sharing more captivating and informative content with you in our next video. Until next time, stay curious.
Exploring the pinnacle of luxury with Luxury Queen.